Welcome along in, everybody, to the Red Card Radio News Hour. We hope to be the one-stop shop, the one place you need to come for news in and relating to the Premier League and English football, and occasionally other topics. So my name is James. I support Arsenal. Mercedes. That's Brad. He supports Chelsea. I don't know.
Red Bull.
And then that's Sean. He supports Tottenham and McLaren, right?
Yeah,
right.
McLaren.
That's a little hint for what we're going to talk about in the news.
Flying papayas, baby.
Before we get too deep into the riveting football news that we have for you guys today, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, ring the sub notification bell, share this podcast with a friend, help us defeat Google and the YouTube algorithm and get us all of the subscribers and all of the views. If you're on one of our podcast sites, leave a 5-star review. Those things do really help us. They do help promote the podcast in the algorithm there. So really, really does help us out if you could do all those things for us. We would really appreciate it. So what we have on offer tonight or today, this afternoon, whenever you're listening to this podcast on a beautiful day after Thursday or later, we are going to talk about our comments from last week. We have a couple comments relating to some football stuff, some football that was played. We're going to talk about, I guess, another change in the Premier League match officials hierarchy. And then, as I alluded to a moment ago, the Formula One season is getting ready to kick off. So, Sean's got a primer for us, all prepared to get us ready to go for the upcoming Formula One season. So let's get into these comments first and foremost. So last week in the Chelsea-Southampton match, a Southampton player went up for a bicycle kick and kicked Cesar Azpilicueta in the chin, in the face. His boot hit Azpilicueta's face. Just a very gentle caress of his chin with the laces of his boot, as Sean would put it. It was very gentle, no malice. So
there was not malice.
Certainly not true. No malice.
Hey, did anybody ask Dave if he likes being kicked in the face?
I mean,
yeah, Cucurella might like getting his hair tugged a little bit, so maybe Dave's into certain things.
Okay.
You never know. You don't know what people are into,
It's a callback.
It is. Check our match week 3 videos or whatever it was. So we have this. We put it up to you, the loyal listeners of Red Card Radio, and we asked you guys what you thought about the foul or not foul, high boot, whatever. Red card, yellow card, whatever. It was ultimately a yellow card, whether or not you thought it was a red card. And so we have an arbiter of truth that we can refer to on these things. Someone who has a definitive answer that we rely on, and that is Jimmy's
non-corrupted view.
Yes, non-corrupted view. This is Jimmy's son, Jack. And before I get, it might be 7. Jack, don't hate us for not knowing how old you are. We apologize. But before we get to Jack's take on this, Jimmy had some thoughts. So Jimmy's specifically in reference to this, he says, I don't see this as much different than the Mane versus Ederson challenge last year where Mane was sent off. Calls like this are really tough because you see both players are going for the ball with no intent to injure. What we have come to accept is that high boot is considered a dangerous play and is a foul. Everyone agrees with this. However, a high boot is perfectly allowed if no one is around you. Any player who lifts their boot above their waist is accepting a risk of dangerous consequences. Like a lot of other challenges, often the difference between no card /yellow/red comes down to severity. That's Jimmy's initial thoughts. So, think that there's a little bit of subjectivity here. Some refereeing perhaps needs to make some decisions. And his second point, or his ultimate point, is point being, I don't think any high boot can be seen as always red or yellow without context. So this was kind of Joel's question to me last week, because I was like, and he's like, if you think high boot is dangerous, then every high boot has to be red card. That was kind of Joel's point. Jimmy.
Yeah, they tried putting those words in my mouth. Yeah. If you want to go back and watch that from last week.
Jimmy continues, I think in the case of a high boot made incredibly dangerous, forceful contact, and the player should probably have been sent off. So Jimmy thinks it's a red card. I honestly, Jimmy, didn't care what you thought. I cared what Jack thought. So I asked you, I pressed you. I said, have you shown it to Jack yet? I guess Jack was still at school. So, whatever. I guess Jack gets a little bit of a pass. Little bit.
The school.
Little bit of pass. But
should have taken him out and shown him this.
I have, boys, a direct quote from Jack. I quote, "He kicked him in the face. That is a red card." Case closed.
These kids don't know anything, all right?
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Its case is closed. It's a red card.
It's done.
All right.
Should have been a red.
All right. I gotta accept it then.
You have to accept it. Thank you, Jack. We will be referring to you for any specific refereeing decisions. So thank you, Jack. We really appreciate it.
I think what we have all learned from this situation is that if a 6 or a 7-year-old can adjudicate
right.
what is a foul and what is not, I think grown men who have been refereeing a sport for 20 to 30 years can adjudicate a call correctly.
Hey,
you would hope.
You know what though? Jack, we might have your job for you next year. You might have to get into this.
That's true.
Program
That's
and
true.
Get graduated because the VAR chief, Mr. Neil Swarbrick, is to retire at the end of the season. Now, this was already in the works before VAR has been terrible. So Jack, I need you to
apply for the past 4 weeks in a row
for this role as the VAR chief, so you can tell all of the referees in there he kicked him in the head. That's a red card. Go give it to him.
I'm sure you could do it remote. But to be fair, Brad, are you actually buying that thought process that it's been in the works for some time? That the 57-year-old who has has a cushioned job where he doesn't have to actually run around, he just gets to watch football matches, was planning to retire at the end of the season? Yeah, I don't buy that. In the same sense that Lee Mason certainly wasn't planning to retire. This is Howard Webb. He's coming in. He's clearing house.
Let's go. I'm here. Let's see what happens next year.
What do you guys? It has been appreciably worse this year since Howard Webb.
Yeah. Well, no, Howard
has taken over.
Howard Webb came in like October or November. Like he didn't come in. He wasn't at the beginning of the season. He came in midway through this season.
It has been appreciably worse the last month
because they were pushing back. He came in and he's like, "Look, man, this is the new guidelines. These are the rules. This is what you have to abide by. And if you continue to try and assert yourself, then we'll have to have some conversations." This is speculation on my part. I'm not speaking for Howard Webb here. Just want to make that clear. These what's the word I'm trying to look for? The deep state referees were trying to control, and we had the make referees great again, Howard Webb, coming in and trying to stamp them all out. And he's working on it. He's getting the deep state referees out. He's making referees great again. Is that a bad analogy?
Yes, it is appreciably worse the past month to 2 months than it has ever been.
It's a process.
Isn't that a pretty good analogy to what I was joking about then?
Absolutely not. I'd rather move on for that.
Appreciably worse? Isn't that okay? Anyway, I thought it was funny.
Sean, lead the way here. This will be the one time McLaren gets to lead us. So lead the way into F1.
All right, boys. I have prepared a small monologue.
I'll time you.
Oh, it's a small one. Are you ready, boys? It is. I need some sound. It's Formula One time. This weekend, I believe it's this weekend, engines will roar again like the roars of Mordor to the whimsical song of Martin Brundle and Crofty. Expectations for the one singular time in the F1 season are all the same. No one dreams of 6th, although you'll take it if you're in 7th. No, this is the time in a given season that all expectations and dreams are exactly the same. To win it all. This is the magical hope that springs eternal. It is at its highest it will be at for the next 9 months. This is opening weekend. Can Red Bull continue its dominance? Can Mercedes get back on top? Can Ferrari and McLaren rekindle its storied history? We're about to find out. But at the top, Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes remain unchanged. That is Verstappen and Perez, Leclerc and Sainz, Lewis and Russell. Those remain unchanged. Alpine sees a new face. Pierre Gasly has moved over and replaced Fernando Alonso, who will join on that team. That was the fourth place finishing team last year. McLaren seems a new face. So Lando Norris is now joined by Piastri, who replaces Ricardo, which is very good for me because Ricardo was Piastri me off last year by not scoring points ever. Thank you for that laugh. Alonso has left Alpine and has landed at Aston Martin, replacing the retired, thank you for your service, Sebastian Vettel. So that is Lance Stroll and Fernando Alonso. AlphaTauri sees also a new driver, Nick De Vries, Dutch, I believe he's Dutch. Let's look at the flag.
Yes.
He's Dutch.
Yeah.
I just was guessing by the name. Joins Yuki Tsunoda, one of my favorite drivers on the grid. Yuki Tsunoda is always a joy. Alfa Romeo team, Valtteri Bottas, and that is unchanged. Valtteri Bottas and Zhu. Haas sees Magnussen now joined by Nico Hulkenberg returns, showing the exit to Mick Schumacher, which is much maligned decision. But it was a fan favorite, that Mick Schumacher.
Didn't Mick Schumacher, he ended up as a third driver at Red Bull for this year?
No, Mercedes.
Is he Mercedes?
Mercedes.
Okay.
Ricardo is the third driver at. Yeah.
That's right.
And then the bottom place Williams sees Alex Albon joined by our new podcast favorite, the only American on the grid, Logan Sargent.
Let's go.
We got an American on the grid, boys.
Yes.
First American in over 10 years on the F1 grid.
I'll take it.
That's a big deal. That's a big deal. Yeah. So what do we got, boys?
All right. So I think I got this. Do you mind if I take the reins here, Sean?
Sure.
All right. So our first predictions: who is winning it all for the drivers? Which driver is winning it all, Mr. James? It's going on the what did I call it?
Sheets of integrity. This is
but I call it something different. We gotta call it something different because it's F1. We gotta figure out something. We'll figure out something. For now, sheets of integrity.
It's certainly not going to be called the papers of trust and respect. That was what
the papers of trust and respect.
Papers of trust and respect. It's coming back. Papers of trust and respect.
That gets a red card. Let me find my book. I need to send that off. This is all right. This is easy. 44 takes number 8.
All right, Mr. Lewis Hamilton. Sean, who you got?
Getting this first at the ripe old age of 24, Lando freaking Norris.
No way.
Y'all are totally wrong. It's Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen ain't stopping.
Oh,
gosh. All right. Constructors Cup. Should I put it as the same, James? What do you have for the Constructors Cup?
So the pick for Lewis was obviously like Lewis is my driver, so I'm gonna back him up in the same sense that Sean picked Lando Norris, so if I pick Mercedes to win the constructors, I think that's a legitimate choice. I think Mercedes were one of the only teams last year to have both drivers go 1-2 on the podium in a race. They did that in Brazil or Mexico or something like that. It was late in the season.
No, Red Bull did that also.
Yeah, one of the only two.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say.
So I don't think it's an outlandish choice for me to say I think that Mercedes is going to win the constructors. So that being said, I'm going to take Mercedes to win the constructors.
Alrighty, Mr. Sean.
I was just looking down. Probably Look, if I'm just going driver to driver, like what is I got an unknown entity in the McLaren garage, right? Like I don't
Yeah.
know what Oscar Piastri is. Like if he's the wonder kid like people think he is, maybe it's great. Maybe because Lando's great.
Yeah, I guess some context is like there's probably like 3 teams that we think legitimately could win the constructors. Maybe
It,
maybe
it,
4 if Piastri is like good and you talk about McLaren could maybe sneak in there, right? But like we're only talking
like when you look at the two, like I don't know if George Russell is aggressive enough. I know Lewis can be. He's not an aggressive driver. Lewis is not.
no.
He's just not. That he's never been an aggressive driver. He will put you in your place if he needs to, but that's more of a matter of fact thing. He is not like Max Verstappen in any way on the racetrack. Max Verstappen is aggressive just to be aggressive.
He's a bully.
Yeah, he is a bully. He is a get out of my way, or I will put you out of my way,
It still saves all the tires.
and still somehow has tires at the end. But
Uh,
Perez is probably the best quote unquote number 2 on the grid. Like, let's be honest.
I'm willing to give you that. I'm willing to give you that.
So where you
That-
going, Sean? You got to pick somebody.
Ferrari.
So Ferrari's a legitimate choice. Ferrari's
Yes.
a
Does that
legitimate
matter?
choice.
McLaren Science and Ferrari started out so great last year,
If they
and
didn't fall off a cliff,
and then didn't get the tweaks right. Everyone else got the tweaks right. Mercedes, it took them a couple weeks, but Mercedes got the tweaks right, and McLaren did not. But Red Bull and Mercedes got the tweaks, but unfortunately for Mercedes, they were so far behind Ferrari
Yeah.
that they couldn't make it up.
I think Sainz had like a he didn't finish in one of the races. It was like really heartbreaking.
There was
and
a stretch of like 3 races
Yeah.
where Sainz just couldn't stay on the track.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
and so like his championship, his personal championship aspirations just evaporated, and that kind of killed Ferrari's chances to win the constructors last year. But like I think Ferrari is a legitimate choice.
Yeah,
Brad's gonna
especially
pick
Red Bull.
Red Bull.
it's Red
Red
Bull.
Bull.
Yeah.
It's Red Bull. Verstappen's
Um,
going to win so many races. Perez is going to get on podiums. It's going to happen.
I got a fun one, boys. Y'all
Okay.
want to go team by team and let's pick
Ooh.
who's scoring the most points on the team.
Okay.
Yes. This sounds fun.
Let's
And here's the
go.
thing. Wait, I got a caveat for this too.
All right.
We score who's going to score more points, and then how confident are you?
Okay. All right. I like that. Like a confident score out of 10.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right. So we'll give a name and then a number of confidence.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's start. I'm just going to go in order of how it is on the F1 website. Let's start with Mercedes. It's George Russell and Lewis Hamilton. Who's scoring more points? Are we keeping record of this?
I don't think this is a lot of
I don't
stuff
think
to
so.
keep record.
Yeah.
of.
This
Yeah.
fun.
This is.
I,
We
I
got the Constructors Cup and the winners.
I think Lewis Hamilton takes more points. I'm about a 4 confident on that.
I'd give it like a 6. I agree with you. I think it's more like a 6 or 6 or 7.
It's Lewis, and my confidence is 10. I have
Russell-
0 confidence. He's just not.
He's
not better than Lewis. Still,
I agree with you, but he beat Lewis last year.
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
I'm just saying. I think
Lewis had a tough offseason last year.
Agreed. I mean, when you get robbed of the world championship and then get told to just suck it up and take it, it's hard to get back up. I agree.
He is going to be refocused and angry.
Yeah, I'm down. I mean, let's go.
It is a 10. It is a 10 confidence.
Let's do it.
All right, Alpine, Esteban Ocon, Pierre Gasly. So actually, this might be interesting. So let me get the Formula One.
Standings for last year.
Yeah, the standings from last year. Because I'm almost certain that Ocon outperformed Fernando last year. I'm pretty sure that
finished
Ocon
8th.
8th, and Fernando Alonso was right behind on the same team. So he outperformed his teammate last year, and Gasly was 14th. Although, albeit in a different team.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
they will have the same equipment this year.
I think it's easy to take Ocon here, and I think that my confidence is a 6 there.
I think it's like a 3.
I'm going Ocon with the confidence of 7. He is a very, very good. He's a very good. He's not only a very good driver. He is a very safe driver. He stays out of wrecks.
Yep.
And finishes a lot of races, whereas Gasly does not. He takes a lot of risks.
I think my confidence is a 3, but I agree with you guys so far.
All right, so we all agree so far, just varying levels of confidence. The Haas team, Kevin Magnussen and Nico Hulkenberg.
Suck my balls. Magnussen 2. Magnussen 3.
It's Magnussen 10 because they're going to have a combined 4 points, and Magnussen's going to score all of them, and it's going to be on a rainy day. And
bump that. I'm taking Hulkenberg.
Okay, all right. So we varied now.
You want to get a little different, okay?
Confidence is a 10.
Yeah. Magnussen's a good driver, man.
I'm not sleeping on him, but
it's going to be on a rainy Brazil Grand Prix where 10 drivers are out, and he's the only Haas left, and he finishes 7th.
Yep. You nailed it.
McLaren, Piastri, and Norris.
It's Lando.
It's Lando.
Yeah, this is
Lando performed exceedingly well last year.
Lando, for the record, for the folks keeping track at home, McLaren scored last year 159 points last year. So for those who are unfamiliar with Formula One, the McLaren points are the combination of their 2 drivers.
Yep.
So as a team, they scored 159 points. Lando scored 122 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was the best. He was the best driver not at a big 3 team.
Yes.
So he was the best driver out of the top 6.
And was 30 points above the person next to him. Yeah, about big 6. Yeah, sure.
Like the top 6, big 6. Yeah. Bringing it back to soccer. That's how, yeah, of course it's Lando. I don't think any of us.
It's Lando by a landslide. It's 10. Unless Piastri is some type of just magician.
But to me, it seems like if Piastri is good, then it's a different conversation for the 24 season. But in 23, I think it's still Lando. Easy.
Well, the problem with Lando, I feel, is this. I have a similar issue with him as I do with Lewis Hamilton. Is he's not aggressive enough. Okay. Like I would like to see him
assert himself.
I would like assert himself and put other drivers in uncomfortable situations, because that's all Max does, is he puts the other driver in an uncomfortable situation and then they always back off. And Lando just doesn't do that. And I would like to. Ricardo did it. Ricardo will do that all day.
It's easy to put somebody in an uncomfortable position when you have the fastest car on the grid.
That's true.
It's helpful.
Yeah,
that's true. All right. This one's the easiest one on the grid, right?
So yes, 100%.
It's Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez who scored more points.
Verstappen, 20.
It's Verstappen.
So funny thing here, because you just talked about the points difference between McLaren, between Lando and Alonso. So I did quick maths, right?
I
did quick maths here. The difference between Lando and Ricardo was 85 points. And that's from 7th to 11th from last year. Between 1st and 3rd was 149 points. between 1st and 2nd was 146. This is Verstappen all day long.
When he's unwilling to give the position back to his teammate after they try to
qualify better.
What? I'm talking about in the I forget which race it was. It was the second to last race last year.
It was so Perez could finish second.
Yeah.
In the
it was the second
drivers.
Race.
Well, even still, it was Perez. They wanted Max to pass to see if Max could chase down the guy in front of him, but he couldn't. And they were like, Max, we want you to give the space back to Verstappen or to.
He was like, no.
Perez.
He was like, you don't ask me this. You don't ask this of me.
He said, don't ever ask me that again. You know how I feel about it. So it's like, I don't know, man. I think. Anyway, that seems.
I was surprised there. I was surprised there wasn't a change there.
I was a little too.
I think that's why Danny Ricciardo was number 3.
Just in case.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be some sort of blow up that happens.
Yo, I'm here for it where Perez inadvertently takes out Verstappen on the first turn in a race in England or something like that. And there's just a blow up at Red Bull. I'm here for it.
Good. Well, yeah, the squabble over that was it would have helped because the Ferrari drivers were out. It would have helped Perez get into second place.
Yeah.
In the drivers. They had already wrapped up constructors, but
and Max had already
won.
And Max had already won, so it was specifically to help Sergio.
Yeah,
and he was like, "F that."
And Sergio gave the space to Max because the team asked him to see if Max could chase down the guy in front of him.
Yep,
and he couldn't.
This is a fun one here. Okay. Lance Stroll, Fernando Alonso. Fernando Alonso on a new team in the Aston Martin. And Lance Stroll, honestly, the more I watch races, not a bad driver. He's a pretty daggone good driver.
It's Alonso.
To be honest, he's not challenging top 5 or anything. But Stroll's a good driver.
Yes, I mean there's varying echelons here to the sport, right? We can all agree that there's levels to this.
All right, but
I think there's levels to this team.
I'm bringing it around town for this. Aston Martin stole Fernando Alonso for a reason, right?
Yes.
They had Vettel. Vettel finished 12th. Vettel retired, and they were like, "Why don't we just steal the other old former champion that finished 9th? Yeah, maybe he can do to our team what he did to Alpine, which is." Get them to finish 4th in the constructor championship, which is probably more money than they've ever. Well, no, not ever, because when they had Ricardo, they had Ocon and Ricardo together, and I think they finished 3rd. Because Ricardo won a race under Renault.
Spoiler alert! I'm still on season 2 of Drive to Survive.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad.
Stop it, bro.
Sorry that I spoiled the 2019 F1 season. Jesus Christ. But it's Alonso.
Yeah, that's a 10.
It's Alonso, and it's a 10. All right, AlphaTauri, the newbie, Nick DeVries, and Yuki Tsunoda. So for context, Yuki Tsunoda score where is he? 17. He scored 12 total points last year.
I'm gonna go.
His teammate Pierre Gasly scored 23 points. He finished 14th.
Nick got 2 points last year, and he didn't race much, if I'm correct, right? He only had one.
Oh, he did finish in the points in the one Williams that he filled in.
I'm going Nick.
Tsunoda.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna give it a 4. Nick, and it's a 4.
If my singular. Where's the other Williams? All right. My singular point here is if you can score 2 points in one race with the Williams, when it took Nicholas Latifi 30-some races to also get 2 points, it's Nick. It's Nick.
Well, I guess we'll see. I disagree with you. I'm taking Tsunoda.
Are you guys sad to see that we lost another North American racer? We gained one with the U.S., but we lost the Canadian Nicholas Latifi.
No, Latifi needed to go. He's coming. I think he's in Indy now, isn't he? He's an IndyCar racer, I think.
I don't care where he goes, but he's got to get the heck up out of here. I was tired of seeing tired of seeing that Williams in the side of the wall.
All right, are we moving on to Ferrari?
Ferrari. This is the big one, right?
Yeah.
Because they are very even.
I think Sainz had a fire under him last year, and
I think it's Sainz.
I think that he's coming back. I think he was really close last year until he had a string of bad results. I think that he is going to be encouraged and motivated for this season. So I'm taking Sainz.
I think it's Sainz, and I think my confidence is a 7.
That's exactly how I feel as well.
Wow. Yeah. I'm going Leclerc. And because y'all think I'm gonna say a 5.
I mean, Leclerc, they're both very, very good drivers. So
both very good drivers.
Picking Leclerc.
I think this is an interesting one. It's I don't know how you guys are saying 7s. That's why I'm because 10 is the most confident.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just that confident in the fire that James also sees.
Yeah.
Okay.
Valtteri Bottas, Alfa Romeo. Valtteri Bottas, Guan Yu Zhu.
Gao
That's it.
Guan Yu. Said backwards. But,
No, it
oh,
doesn't matter. It's Bottas.
it's party in the
It's
front, party in the back.
It's Valerie.
Yeah.
He got the epic mustache, the awesome mullet. It's Valerie, and it's a 10.
It's Valtteri. Williams. This is the race to who can score a point.
Yeah, right. Who's gonna get one?
Alex Albon, Logan Sargent.
I think
I'm just gonna go with my heart with the American, right?
Yeah.
Like we're just gonna go with the American.
Some rookie luck. Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll go with
Logan Sargent. Let's do it. Lock it in.
It's a 10.
10.
Confirmed.
10.
Confirmed. 10.
Logan Sargent, guys, get ready for these Logan Sargent updates. First time he gets a point, we are going to celebrate on the review, on the news, and on the preview.
Popping bottles, just spraying everybody with champagne.
All right, guys.
Was that it?
That's it. That's it. There's 10 teams. That's it. So we had.
That's all 10.
So what did we do?
We've got
consensus was
Lewis, Ocon, Magnussen, Lando Norris, Max Verstappen, Fernando Alonso, Nick DeVries, Carlos Sainz, I think was the
you had 2-1. It was 2-1.
2-1. Bottas and the American.
America.
So
just for context for you guys, we got Bahrain coming up. It's coming up this weekend. It's March 3rd through the 5th. Races, of course, on Sunday. Got practice and qualifying leading up to that. So, yeah, it should be.
I'm interested because I don't know if you guys had looked into it. I haven't seen who's quick and who's not.
I have not looked either.
Red Bull was fastest all 3 days for testing.
Well, that's first of all, it's unsurprising because Red Bull doesn't try to hide anything. They just show up and just like, hey, we're putting down times. So, but other teams like to play a little chess match of like, they'll just play around with a couple of sectors and then take and extrapolate that.
Yeah.
They're just trying to. The teams that are competing with each other. There's a big chess match of like you don't want to show your full hand.
Oh yeah.
Until the first weekend. So Red Bull don't care. They just come to train. They come to practice or like the testing, and they just pull their whole PP out.
Let's go.
And they're just like, here it is. Yeah.
I don't think a minute 30 is going to be the fastest time though. Come qualifying. I think it's going to be faster. I think it's going to be a lot faster than that.
Yeah, they're going to have that thing dialed in.
Yeah.
But it's obviously like, let's not kid ourselves. It's going to be Mercedes, Ferrari,
Red Bull.
Like unless because you guys remember last year, maybe you don't, but I do. But Haas were qualifying. They like qualified almost on the front row.
A lot.
Like the first couple of races, they had that thing dialed in, and I was like, oh my gosh, are we seeing a Haas top 5? And then they just fell off a cliff because everyone tweaked their way, and Haas doesn't have tweaking money. They have season money. We don't have tweaking money.
Wait, have you seen their I don't know what they're called, but like the 7-seater?
Yeah, it's 3 seats.
They have 3 seats instead of 7.
Dude, apparently they're saving $250,000.
Yeah.
In transport fees because it weighs so much less that they're going to be able to put that back into testing.
Smart.
Just by having 3 seats instead of 7. And
you would probably get away with 3 seats. Like what? Why do you need? I don't understand enough F1 yet to understand why you need 7 seats. So
just Steiner, your main communication guy, and your head engineer. That's all you need. Team principal, the guy that talks to the drivers, and then the head engineer. That's all you need.
There you go. Solved.
Rocking.
Solved. All right. Well, a little bit light on the football news tonight, but we did want to bring you that F1 update just because the season's about to start, and Sean's certainly into F1 more than Brad and I, but we're
tangentially fans.
Well, we're trying to get more into it.
Catching up. I am.
It's a good sport. It's a good sport.
Yeah, it's a fun sport. I'm here for it. I like racing.
I've been saying for the last 5 years I'd watch more. But maybe this year is the year that I'll watch more. But if you're still listening, this isn't our typical news episode. Normally it's more football focused, but we will talk about F1 sporadically throughout the F1 season and through the summer. And then whenever the World Chess Championship comes back, and we'll start talking about chess again. But and if you're new here, just stumbling across this, we would really appreciate that subscribe. Ring the sub notification bell. What's up, Brad? Are you interrupting me?
Not for trivia.
Thank
we
goodness.
do have a late prediction to add to the sheets.
Okay.
Mr. Jimmy here is going Aston Martin winning it all.
Jimmy
put Aston Martin winning it all.
Where?
In our Discord. So guys, please join the Discord and chat with us.
Yeah, how did he know? Okay.
Sean was blasting links on every channel that he could find.
Yo, that's awesome.
And I get Aston Martin and Jimmy.
There we go.
Perfect.
He's got Fernando up.
Hey, Jimmy, I want you to back up your comment.
He's got Fernando up.
Comments.
He's got Fernando Alonso for getting one for the road before he retires.
That's awesome. Appreciate that, Jimmy. Hit us up on Twitter. That's at KSBradG. Down below, it's at Whiteheart_Sean. I'm at James Tiffany. Collectively, we can be reached at redcard_radio. And until next time, tomorrow we've got a preview of match week 26 in the Premier League. Full slate of games, so you won't want to miss that. Definitely check back tomorrow. We'll get you all squared away for the weekend. But until then, have a good one, and we will see you guys soon.